All right, guys. I think we are officially live on this Friday morning. Super excited because, it's Friday. And, I know everyone kind of looks forward to Fridays, but it's just another day for me, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, I do take it a little easy on the weekends and I try to stay unplugged. It doesn't always happen, but for a lot of people, it's the end of the work week and they're like, all right, Friday, let's go get a nightcap or let's go ahead and some happy hour stuff. Let's start the weekend off. I'm just excited to jump on here and discuss a little bit of this niche property stuff with you guys. It's always fun hanging out and talking about this stuff. And speaking of the niche property stuff, we actually did a web class on Wednesday night. Actually, it threw me off this week because we did it on Wednesday, and a lot of times we've done these on Thursdays. So I felt like yesterday was Friday, and I feel like today should be Saturday. It's weird. But if you have not yet watched that, there's a replay that did actually record. So we were fingers crossed that it would actually record, and it did. So we actually posted that. If you're interested in checking that out, you can head on over to, let me put that up there. There you go, brandcreators.com/workshop. If you go there, you can watch it. The replay will be available until tomorrow night. Also, for anyone that is not currently going through our niche properties class, we do have a special, we're calling it the ultimate bundle, because we have a lot of goodies there and it's all related to building your niche property in 2022. And it's a special that we put together for this web class. So that's on there as well. So if you want to go check that out, if you've missed it the last time, or if you've missed the opportunity to jump in at a little bit of a discount and with some pretty cool bonuses, now would be the time, because it's going to run through tomorrow night at midnight. So if you're interested in watching the replay, head on over to brandcreators.com/workshop. Or if you just want to go there and because you've already decided you want to go through the training, and go on over there and take us up on that offer. It's a pretty sweet offer. So go check that out. So today, what are we going to be talking about today? Well, it's a question I get asked quite often. And actually, I was on the other day doing a coaching call with one of our BCA members, and this is what we were talking about. So I thought, you know what? Let's go ahead and answer this question, which is, when and how do I increase traffic from old content? When do I look at it and go, you know what? That's been sitting there a while, and I can see that there might be some potential here because, well, now it's ranking and it's just not ranking high enough. When and how should we approach this? So I decided to do today's coffee talk, or our jam session, on that. So if you have any questions on this, or any question for that matter, but if you have any questions on this, let's jam a little bit on this and talk about getting our content to bring in some more traffic, and actually when we should do it. So if you have any questions on that, let me know, and we'll go ahead and get rocking and rolling. All right. So let me just go ahead and make sure that everything is working. It looks like Scooby Life is here as always. What's up, Scooby Life? How are the dogs doing, by the way? I love seeing your Instagram stuff that you're posting with your dogs, and it's pretty awesome. I'm a dog lover, so yeah, it always it kind of warms my heart a little bit to see you and your dog. So that's pretty awesome. Karen, what's up? Good morning. How's the weather there, Karen? Brian, what's up? All good in the UK. What's up, Brian? Good to see you. Good morning. All right, cool. So it looks like we are in fact live. So that's awesome. Stefan, what's up? Gabrielle. What's up? What's up? Okay, cool. All right, good. We're gonna go ahead and kick this off here. Let's go ahead and officially get the jam session going, and we'll get rocking and rolling. All right, so here we go. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Friday jam session. I am fired up because we are going to be talking about something that I get asked a lot. And actually, I've had several coaching calls over the past few weeks, and this has been one of the things that we've discussed. And the most recent coaching call that I did with one of our BCA members, we talked specifically about this. And actually, we're going to be running some experiments and some tests for increasing the traffic to older content. Okay. So what happens here is a lot of people they will start creating content. They're building a niche property. And we all know that content is what drives the traffic. So we want to create content. And what happens though is it's kind of like you're cooking something and you start to poke at it a little bit too soon, or you don't let it cook just long enough because you're a little impatient. And then you kind of screw it up, right? You're like, oh, if I would have just left it in a little bit longer. But now, I actually did that the other day with a bag of popcorn. And my wife kind of laughed at me because I got impatient because I thought it was done. I'm like, man, it's done and it's still going. It's got to be done. I don't hear it popping. She's like, no, you got to let it go. And I pulled it out early and then I couldn't put it back in because once you take it out and it deflates, it's not the same. You're going to burn it. So I got a little impatient and I had less popcorn and some of it was a little charred in some spots. So I got a little impatient. That's what happens with content too. So we do need to discuss like when we should do this. All right. Because I do think there is a timing that comes along with this, that we don't want to do it too soon. And what I mean is we don't want to start poking it and start trying to improve it before we've actually given it a chance. All right. So that is definitely what we want to talk about. But there is a lot of opportunity once you've been creating content and you're starting to see where you're ranking, you're getting indexed, you're starting to rank, and you're like, okay, now I can see that it's pretty much stalled in this position. How do I get it to a higher position? So let's talk about that. All right. Let's kind of dive in here. Oh, before I do though, let me say this. If you're listening to this on the podcast, we do these live generally. And this podcast, I'm actually recording, but I'm actually doing it live with my coffee talk people. And we do these on Fridays, the jam sessions. If you want to come on over and hang out with us, you're more than welcome. All you need to do is head on over to takeactioncrew.com and you can jump on the email list there. And that's the only way right now to get on the email list, by the way, unless you've signed up for a workshop or something like that. But you can just go to our Facebook page too. And you can either belong to the page, like the page, and you'll probably be notified. But your best way to do it is just jump on that email list. And we'll usually let you know what we're discussing and things. Or you can just show up here on the page. All right. But if you want to ask any questions, that's how you would do it. All right. So this topic, like I said, very, very popular with people that are already up and running. And once you get about 6 months in, that's when I would start to look at this. All right. 6 months is when I would start to look at this. All right. Now, if you have content that's not as old, right, it's younger, I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it yet. All right. Because it's still kind of working itself out. I've seen where we have content we publish and we'll rank really fast sometimes, right? And it'll, be on page 1 and then all of a sudden it disappears and then it comes back, right? So sometimes it might not have gotten to where it's going to land because it's kind of being shifted around by Google. All right. So 6 months is generally our rule of thumb on that. We don't want to touch anything that's 6 months or less. Now, the cool thing is as you're creating content, and in the very beginning, we always talk about why in the very beginning we want to create as much content as we can, good content, because it starts to build relevancy on our site and we have more stuff that we can look at 6 months from now. All right. So I've got like 5 questions that we're going to ask. Okay. We're going to ask ourselves about our niche property, about when we're going to do this. And then I'll give you some suggested tweaks that we can do. And we'll talk about that. All right. And I've got 4 of those. Okay. So 5 questions we got to ask ourselves. And then if we decide that it's something that we want to tweak, then I'll go through and I'll go over these 4 different tweaks. All right. So the very first question we need to ask ourselves is, how old is the content? Right. So I just said 6 months. I mean, if you've got something that's 9 months, a year, it's pretty much probably leveled out at where it's going to be. Now, does that mean that it can't ever go from page 2 to page 1? No, it absolutely could. Does that mean if it's on page 4 right now, it can't get to page 1? No, it totally could. And a lot of times with these algorithm shifts or adjustments that Google does, sometimes you'll see that you'll have a piece of content that just comes out of nowhere and it'll start performing. So just because you have a piece of content that's 12 months old and it hasn't hit yet, it might still hit. We've got some that have done that. So just because you don't do this doesn't mean that it still can't rise, right? It can't like increase in the rankings. It can, totally can. But if you are sitting on content, we actually did this during our Niche Properties Insiders. which basically is a newsletter slash session where Chris Schaefer and I, we take a site that is being sold that's doing at least $1,000 per month, and then we break it down, we tear it down. And what we do is we go through the content that's there, and then we go through what we would do to increase the traffic. And one of those things is always looking at the old content and seeing what's there that we could tweak, make little tweaks, and get from page 2 or even page 3 to page 1. And that would instantly create another, source of traffic or an additional source of traffic. So we have to ask ourselves, the first question is, how old is the content? If you're answering it's 4 months old, leave it, walk away. You're not ready yet. Okay. But when you are ready, make sure you come back to this episode. All right. Because this is what I would do. Okay. So question number 2 is, now what we need to do is we need to see what is the traffic potential for this post. Now, what you're usually going to do is you're going to want to run this or run your site through either Ubersuggest or a tool like Ahrefs, something where you can see where you're ranking, okay, and what the potential traffic potential is for. That was a lot of potentials. What the traffic potential is for that keyword. Now, keep in mind, a lot of times it's going to look at a keyword that would get the most traffic, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to rank for 100 different variations of that. That's going to make your traffic a lot more. Look, we have one right now that we did, and it's not that old either. It's about 2.5, 3 months old, and we hit it really quick. We got on page 1, but that keyword, okay, the main keyword says it only gets like 300 searches a month. But that's bringing in 1,600 visits a month because it's coming in and giving us all of the variations because of that piece of content that we wrote has other things in the content that have other keywords that people can find or that can use to find the piece of content. So don't just get stuck on that. But if we look at that, right, if we look at what's the traffic potential, I would look at it and say, and this is usually what our rule of thumb is 500 or more. Right? If I have a piece of content there and it says the keyword is like 150, even though I know that's not accurate, right? It could be more. I'm still not going to take the time to go through this whole process to get an extra 50 visitors a month for that one piece of content, right? I wouldn't spend the time on that. Now, if I'm looking at it and it says 1,900, right? 1,900, and I'm on page 2, and that piece of content is ranking in the 14th position, and I'm getting 100 visits, that means that I have 1,800 more visitors that I could potentially get, right? If I got page 1, right? And that doesn't mean I'm going to get all of those, but I could go from 100 to maybe 500. That would be worth it. Right? So I always look at that. What is the traffic potential? What is the difference of what I'm already getting to what I could be getting? Right? And I would like that to be, again, like that search term needs to be around the 500 mark for us. If you want to use 600, if you want to use 200, it's totally up to you. But again, we have to look and see, where's our time best spent. Our time might be better spent. If we're only going after trying to increase it to get an extra 50 visitors, I'd be better off just to write more content, just post more content. Right? Unless I'm bored and I got nothing else to do. All right. So that's the second question. What's the traffic potential? The third question is, where is the content ranking now? So if it's ranking on the 10th page in, right? It's at like the 100th position or the 99th position. I'm probably not going to try to get that thing to page 1 because it's got so far to go. Right? There's so much more work that might have to get done. So I'd probably leave that one for right now and see what it does maybe in 3 months from now. You can always go back to it. I'm really looking at what is on page 2 and 3. If that piece of content is ranking, all right, and I'll give you an example. Let's say that it's ranking in the 14th position, right? That would be page 2, the fourth one down on page 2. There's a good chance that I could probably tweak that content, all right, and probably get it to page 1. Now, it might not make page 1 position 1, but if I get it to page 1, we know that I'm going to be getting more than I'm getting on page 2 or 3, right? And if on page 2 or 3, I'm getting 200 visits, but if I get it to page 1, I could double it, I would do it, right? So that makes sense. So you have to ask yourself, where is the content ranking? Now, if you're looking at this in Ubersuggest, if you take your website, punch it into Ubersuggest, it will show you all of the keywords that you're ranking for and the position that you're ranking for them in. And then what I would do is I would sort it by top positions, and then I would start looking at the ones that is really low-hanging fruit, the ones that are on page 2 and 3, right? And then I would look at what's the traffic potential for that keyword, all right? So that's what I would do there. So that's question number 3. Where is the content ranking now? And then question 4 is, what is the competition on page 1? Okay, this is a big one because this is really going to decide what we think we can do, right? So what is the competition on page 1? How do we look at the competition? Well, we're going to look at the domain authority. We're going to look at how many backlinks are going to that post. If that post has 100 backlinks going to that post, if it has a whole bunch of social shares, right, and the domain authority is like an 80, there's a good chance I'm probably not going to beat that, right? Now, I would look at all the other ones. Maybe there's 9 other ones, and maybe there's one there that's a domain authority of like 15, and I'm a domain authority of like 25. Now I'm talking, because now I know if that person made it in there, then there's a good chance I will if I just tweak it. All right. And then what I would want to do is I would want to look through their content. I would want to see what their, style is, how many images they have. Are they putting video in it? How many interlinks do they have? Like, I would want to start doing a little bit of research there as far as like why their page is there and mine's not. Right. And then question number 5 is kind of what we're doing in question number 4 here, is really what is missing in the content? Like, what is missing in that piece of content? All right. And so those are the 5 questions. So number 1, how old is the content? 2, what's the traffic potential? Is it 500 or more? Question 3, where is content ranking now? Okay, where is it ranking? 4, what is the competition on page 1? And then 5, what is missing on my content that the competition has that I don't have, right? And that's it. Those are the 5 questions. Okay, very simple. So now let's move into what could we do, okay, if we wanted to increase our rankings. And a lot of this is going to be done by looking at the questions 4 and 5. What does the competition look like on page 1? And what is missing in mine that they have that I don't, right? And then that we're going to make those decisions. So you can literally look at your competition and go, okay, let me count their images. They have 5 images. I have 2. Maybe I just add some more images. Okay. So my first thing here is on our little tweak is maybe we add more images. Okay. The other thing would be maybe we look at their site and they've got a YouTube video in there. Okay. Well, a YouTube video helps people stay on that page longer. So maybe when people land there, they're going to stay longer. Maybe people are staying on that page for 2 minutes and they're staying on your page for 20 seconds. Well, if we increase that, there's a good chance that might help us, right? So maybe we embed a YouTube video there, And then the third thing is maybe we're going to look at their interlinks. Okay. We're going to look and see, do they have some interlinks? Do we have interlinks? If we don't have interlinks, the first thing we want to do is we want to add some internal links. Okay. If we don't have any internal links, we want to do that. If we don't have any outbound links, we want to do that. Okay. But again, I would look at theirs. I'd say, how many internal links do they have? How many external links do they have coming to their page? We can see that right in Ubersuggest. Right now, there's nothing we're going to really do about external links coming in from another website to ours, but we could do this. We could look at our own site. Again, this is why it's important that it's at least 6 months old, is we're going to look at our backlinking profile on our own website, and we're going to see the links that are being pointed to our site and to our pages, okay, our certain posts. And then what we can do is we can find one of those pages that has a link coming from an external website, some other website that's pointing it to us. And we could link our page that we're trying to push up in the rankings. We could just do an internal link from the page that we have a link coming to and just transfer that link over to here if it's relevant, though. So it has to be relevant. But again, that's what we would do. Okay. So internal links are helpful. All right. Because it adds the link juice that's coming from other pages. And then the last thing here is maybe we need to add more subtopics. So what I would do is I would look at all of our subtopics, and then I would look at their subtopics. What subtopics do they have that I'm not covering? Guess what? We might need to do a revision. We might need to go and update that post. All right. Now, let me just say this little warning here. If you have a post that's on page 2 and it's getting 1,000 visits because you have all these other various, keywords that are driving it too, but you're looking at this one specific keyword, right? If you have a post that's getting 1,000 plus visits, I really wouldn't go that crazy with updating anything because you don't want to screw that up, right? Because there could be other keywords that are coming in that if you tweak it, it might ruin it. So be careful with that. Now, if you're not getting a bunch of traffic from that, that's another story, right? Now we can play around with adding more images, adding a YouTube video embed. We could add internal links. We can, add some subtopics. Now, if we add subtopics, we are going to be adding more content, which then will be re-indexed. And that could take us out of position, but it could bring us right back. So there are some risks there to doing that. That's why you need to determine, is it worth it to do this because I'm not getting enough traffic right now, or it's getting a good amount of traffic, but I know there's a lot more that I could get. That decision needs to be made by you. Okay. But just some things to consider when you're doing that. If you want to do it in a way that's not risky really at all, then it would be getting external links going to the page. Like that would be the easiest way to try to boost it without really touching the content, right? Would be doing that, adding an external link. And that external link can be from another website, or it could be from an internal page of yours that already has links coming to that. So that way there, we're not really touching the content. We're just pointing, right, to that piece of content. And another thing you can do is share your content. Take your piece of content and share it with your social media. Maybe post it on Facebook. Maybe do some more Pinterest with it. You can do other things that you're not going to touch the content and disrupt it, but you can add external, links and, awareness that could possibly be shared, because people will share it, if it's good. All right. So those are some things to think about when we are looking at when and how to increase traffic from old content. All right. So guys, that is our Friday jam session. I hope this has helped you. You might want to go back and listen to this one again, make some notes, or you can go to the show notes of this episode as well. And you can either watch the video or you can listen and then just take notes, and you can kind of go through that. But I would definitely do this if you're 6 months in and see where it's ranking right now and where you can make some slight tweaks to possibly get more more traffic. And this is exactly what we did. We actually showed over the shoulder of us going through this one website and laying out exactly what we would increase or what we would tweak and how we would tweak it. We did that in our Niche Properties Insiders, Volume 1, by the way, our January 2022 edition. And we're going to be doing one of these every single month. So if you're interested in getting access to that, well, you need to join BCA, Brand Creators Academy. That's where we're doing these every single month. All right. And the next one that's going to be coming out is going to be in February. So yeah, if you want to get access to that, definitely go check out Brand Creators Academy. And you can do that by heading over to brandcreators.com/BCA. You can get all the details there. All right, guys. So that's it. That's going to wrap it up. As always, take care, take action, have an awesome, amazing day, weekend, whatever time it is that you're listening to this, and go on out there, make it happen. See you soon, guys. Cut. All right, guys, let's go ahead and see. Let's see. Oh, we got some questions here. Cool. Scooby Life. The dogs are possum. We are going a 6-mile pack hike this weekend in Waterfall. Wow. Ella and Luna are doing great with these new meetup groups. That's awesome. Super cool. What if you wait 6 months and do not get indexed at all? What quick checks would you do before that? If you're not getting indexed, there's a problem. There's a problem with probably your content on your WordPress site. It's not being pushed to get indexed. One of the ways that you are going to get indexed is to install a plugin like Yoast or Rank Math, because they'll automatically push the index, or you'll get indexed because it'll push your sitemap. Okay. So if you're not getting indexed after 6 months, we got a little bit of a problem that we have to identify, because you should be getting some indexing. Let's see here. When you say interlinks, are you talking about linking like a blog to another blog, workbook, or a kit? Yeah, no. Okay. So if we're talking about internal links, that's your own links. So what we would want to do, Karen, is we'd want to look at your website. Okay. Pull it up in Ahrefs, or we can look at it in Uber Suggest. We can look at the backlinks that are already coming to your website. We can see what pages they're being pointed to. And then we would take that page and then we would link it to a post that is relevant, obviously, but we would link that inside of that post. We would write something that would be able to be linked to the post that you're trying to push up in the rankings. So what this does is it takes that external link that's coming, that's already there, and it's basically taking some of that link juice and it's going to connect it to another. So it's kind of passing it through to the other page. And that's it. So we would have to look at your site in Ahrefs or Uber Suggest and see what backlinks you currently have to what pages, and then see if it would make sense to put an internal link there. The other way would be if you had a great piece of content, people are going to naturally be linking to it, whether it's in a forum, whether it's on one of their websites, some person's website. That's the best because it's an external link coming from an external website. But internal links are very powerful too. When you update, does it rank like a new post from the beginning? Again, no, not necessarily. It could pull it out of the existing ranking though, and people freak out when that happens, but then it usually will come back and it will usually climb. But it is risky when you do updates, but it doesn't treat it as a brand new post. It treats it as an updated post. So if you sometimes if you just do a little bit and update it, it's not enough to even get re-indexed. So that's why if you're going to update anything, it's usually like you want it to be somewhat substantial. And some people have said it needs to be at least 10% more and stuff. I don't know if there's an exact number, but when you're doing that, it will get updated if you're using a plugin like Rank Math or Yoast, because it automatically does it behind the scenes. You don't even have to worry about it. When are the best places to share? Blog, Facebook page, Insta? Where are the best places? I mean, anywhere. I mean, if you already have, a social platform, share it everywhere. But if I had to choose, I would probably say Facebook, because Facebook is more of the platform where people are reading a little bit more and stuff. Instagram is more like scroll, right? Scroll, read. So I would say probably Facebook, but Pinterest would probably be a great source to share every single post. And that's what we actually teach for doing some like our content amplification. Where would we go to get the show notes? Oh, Russ, if you go to this episode, so this episode, I'll have to look, you're not going to get them until the episode airs, which the episode is not airing until, let's see here. Where is it? Let me get that for you. It will be February 4th. This one will air on the podcast. So that would be on a Friday. So it would be episode 1099. But it won't be there until we actually publish it, because the show notes aren't done yet, because you guys are watching this before it actually airs. So there you go. All right. Let's see. Definitely going to, I can't read that. To remind myself on things I'm not routinely doing. Yeah, it's a good reminder. Would you use these questions for your YouTube and get ideas to make more of that content? I mean, yeah. I mean, same idea, right? But YouTube's a different animal. I mean, it's owned by Google, but it's a different animal. So I can't really say that would be the strategy to do, but I would definitely want to. I mean, with YouTube, there's going to be a lot of other things, right? There's going to be like, it's got more engagement. It's got, more people have liked it. More people have, commented and things like that. So there's a bunch of different things that would make that happen. What about, great. I don't know what that means, so I'm sorry. I can't answer that. Yeah. If you want to elaborate on that, Gabrielle. Yeah. Have a great weekend. I will. No, really, very low key, actually. My daughter and my granddaughter and my son-in-law are coming over here later this afternoon. We're going to hang out here for the weekend. And then Sunday, we've got volleyball just to practice. But it will be, again, our long drive to get to practice and our long drive home and about a 2-hour practice. So, yeah, so that's it. And there's potentially going to have some more snow here, which I'm not looking forward to. Okay. I left that behind in New York, but it's following me here. And I'm a little upset about that. Anyway. Guys, have an awesome weekend. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. And if you do have any questions on this, drop them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to try and answer them for you, whether it's in the comments or on an upcoming coffee talk. But I will be back here on Monday morning for our Monday mindset. So make sure that you head back. And you know what? Let a friend know about this. Share this with a friend that you think would benefit from it. All right. Help me with that. All right. Share it with someone. All right, guys. Take care. Take action. Have an awesome weekend. And I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.